So this is where we left off in part one of the tunnel project, and I'm going to do some more work. We're using this array system here so that everything is repeated. I may make some changes to both the models and the idea of how the array is going to work, but for now we're just going to do this and it'll be replicated all along. I've made a small change here. I've changed the size of what was going to be sort of like a glass hydrometer display to more of a button type thing, and we're going to get busy working on this. So I think I'll take this first of all, and let's turn those off. Let's make sure my screencast keys are on, and I'm just going to launch right into this. In fact, I'm going to use this face here, and I'm going to create some toggle switches. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to be doing I've done before, and so there's no real surprises here, I don't think. I'm going to extrude that back. I'm going to scale that out a bit and bring it back in. I'm going to delete that back face. I'm going to take this and I'm going to inset this a little bit. Maybe I'll push it in. In fact, it's a little bit wide. I'm going to scale Shift X like that. I'm going to delete that face. I'm going to flip those, and I'm going to make that smaller so I can do 3 of them. Drop in some edge loops to tighten this up like this. I don't know if I really needed one there. Yeah, let's start with that. Push that on. I'm just going to look from the side and think about whether or not I can get 3. I possibly can. All right, so with that, I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there, and let's try a how should we do this? Should we go UV sphere? Maybe 10 and 10. Try that. Okay, so I've got it inside the other object, so I'm going to break that out. There we go. I'll do something like this. I'm going to rotate Y 90. I really don't know that I need the back or all of it. Maybe I'll come in here and I'll select that vertex. Come up to about there, X vertices. Maybe we'll leave that much. We'll see if that's enough. Let's push that in there and scale it down. And I'm going to select there, and maybe one more. Get rid of those, and then have that. Now, you know what? I think I want one more. So Control minus. We'll go with that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to scale it out and scale it up. I have to make a face, and we'll work on the length of that in a bit. And I bring it back like that, and roll my mouse up. Okay, at this point, I think I'm going to scale Shift X, make it a bit smaller, and I'll work on this. I'm going to make that a bit smaller as well. Let's take that and push that underneath. And I probably should take this edge here and just extrude it down and either bring in 1 or bevel. Maybe I'll just bring in 1, we'll see. Not going to see it up close very much. So I have a toggle switch, and that one comes straight out, and let's make sure that that's facing the right way. So if I take both of those and I join them together, and I look straight on here, so I'd have 1, let's just copy them, 2, 3, like that. Let's just have a look at that. And then I thought what I would do is maybe we'll have this one straight and this one going up and this one coming down or something. So let's come in here, and I'm just going to select there. Bring my 3D cursor there, set my pivot to there, and then come in and select all of that. And I'm going to look from the side, which happens to be the front, and I'm just going to rotate. You know, get it to work the way I want it. Maybe I'll rotate a bit more. It's probably going to be okay. We're not going to look too close. And we'll do the same kind of thing for this one, but we'll rotate it downwards. So I'll select there, and my 3D cursor is there. Okay, select a piece, Control L, and look from the front, and we're going to rotate this one downwards like that and pull it like that. All right, so they're in different orientations. There they are. And let's move those up a little bit because I want to do something below that, and I'm going to take one of these circles again, and I'll go back to median point, Shift D to duplicate. Let's pull that down. I'm going to create sort of like an input jack. Let's do something like this, and we'll go out. Okay, and I'm going to separate that out. I'll be joining everything soon. E and Alt S and come in. So you plug in some kind of device there, and we'll bevel this with just 3. We'll take it and we'll flip it, and we'll get rid of those back faces here. We don't need those. So we'll do that. I want to take that though and bring my 3D cursor there. In object mode, I will add a hexagonal bolt. So 6 sides. F. Rotate Y 90. I'll put that about there, and we'll bring it back. Get rid of that back face like that, and we'll flip it. And in edge selection, with all those edges selected, we'll Control B and pull. And have 3. Okay, I can probably join those, bring it all in like this. Let's just see how big that is. Okay, that's a bit big. So let's look from the side, and we'll make it smaller. So making sure it fits. I'm going to just rotate it off its axis, Shift D. We'll put one under here and rotate it. I'll move this down. And one more. Is that okay? Let me see. Let me take all of this and scale it down a little bit. Push it down. Maybe we'll push that down a little bit, and I'll take this label thing here and push that down a little bit as well. All right, it's not bad. So let's take this and join that, and take these. And I guess if I'm happy with them, we'll just join that. Now, obviously, you can see the back side of this here. If I'm texturing it and I really want to, I can put some black in there. So that's there. So let's just have a look at what that would look like. Okay, they're all in the same position all the way down, but that's just the way that goes. All right, so now we're going to do another piece right here. So I'll just start it off here and get the general gist of things going. I'm going to rotate Y 90, and I want this to go from just about the ground, just a little bit above the ground or on the ground, to very close to the top. And I'm going to turn off all that stuff here, and I'm going to save. Let's start with that and extrude it back, and I'll flip it, and I want it to be a different thickness than this one, and just to give some difference to it. I could start with that. So I'm going to take the edges and I'm going to bevel them. Control B. I'll probably put 5 in there, do it like that. And then for the back one, I'll do probably 3. I think that's 3. And the front one I'll probably do 3 as well. Or maybe it's 4. Okay, so let's go back. Maybe I did 4 there. Okay, that was 4. Okay, that. And that. So we got that one going on there. And I think it's a little bit too tall here. Let's grab that, just bring it up a little bit, and bring this one down just a little bit, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here, select that face, Shift D to duplicate, S to scale, and I'm going to bring it in like this, and then I'm going to bring it up so that this border is kind of equal, but I have more room down there. I kind of want to do something. I'm going to scale it a bit more. Yeah, okay. I can live with that. I kind of want to scale it in the Y, but I don't like doing that when I already have a curve on it. But I think it still looks all right. So I'll go with that. I'm going to pull it out a little bit and extrude it back. Get rid of that back face. It's discolor. Let's flip it. It's joined right now, so that's fine. So let's just grab that face. Control B to bevel with 3. It's going to be like that. So this is going to be like a little door. And so we're going to put a handle on it in a minute. But for now, let's grab these bolts. Let's Control L, Shift D to duplicate and pull it out. And pull it out in front. And we'll look from here. I'm going to make these ones a little bit bigger. Actually, maybe I'm not, depending on the size of this. We can do that. Okay, so let's see, that's there. And I'll duplicate it over here. And Control L, and then I will Shift D to duplicate, pull it down. I have to tilt this so I can see the bottom. That's there. Now, we need to split this a little bit so it looks like there's actually a front panel like that the bolts would have some meaning. So I'll just do this, E and Alt S and pull to make it go in a ways, and then we'll bevel that with 3. Control B. That's 2, 3, and I'll put an edge loop in here and an edge loop in here. We could test out the shading and see. Okay, it's a little bit off, but we're not going to worry about that yet. I wonder if maybe it should be right on the ground. Oh, the bolts aren't joined yet. Let's take the bolts here. Okay, the bolts are part of the whole other thing. So let's go into this and grab these bolts and separate them out. Select a little piece and Control L, P to break them out. Now they're separate, and now I can just join them to this thing actually. All right, now we'll come in here and see what it's like if it's resting on the ground. Okay, I'm going to do more work on this in a second, but first I want to join this to this with a pipe of sorts. And what I thought I would do is maybe grab this. Do I really care? Well, I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull it down. And I'm just going to bring my 3D cursor there. And then I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, good. Okay, close enough. All right, so roughly down there. Okay, fine. In object mode, I'm going to bring in a plane. And I'm going to merge its center. And I want that vertex. Oops. Okay, there it is. Bring it in a little bit. Extrude down. And over into here. And let's see what, okay, there. All right, so I'm going to take that one point. I want to bevel it, Control B. And a pull, and then there's 3, 4, 5, like that. And I want it roughly the same diameter as that. So I'm going to, it doesn't have to be, so we'll just get it roughly. Okay, so we've got that. I think I'm going to take it down a little bit. And I want the join to be a little bit better. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to steal this piece here. Take a bit of that, Control L, Shift D. This is really what's going to determine the size of this thing. So it's a little bit too wide, but I'm going to rotate Y 180 degrees. So that's there. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to make it a little smaller until I start to see that. There we go. Yeah, okay, I could go with something like that. Okay, let's take this and just pull it up a little bit. It just looks a little bit nicer. And I will just duplicate that and pull it over here. And we're going to rotate X minus 90. And we're going to push it onto there. And in. And then we're just going to look from the front. And I think we got it pretty good. All right, so that's connecting now. So we could take this. This is a curve, so I'm going to put that as 3, and I'm going to convert that to a mesh, and I'm going to join that, so that'll end up being propagated down, and this is already attached, but that piece isn't. All right, so if we were to come in here and to look at this so far, you can see that pipe is coming along there. All right, so far so good. Let's continue on this thing. I want some kind of a grill mesh, whatever you would call it, on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that piece. I'm going to break it out. And okay, it doesn't have any modifiers on it yet, so that's good. I'm going to bring it up to about there. Scale it in the X a little bit. And I'm going to use that. So we're just going to focus on that. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to press I to inset, pull it in, and we'll take the whole thing and pull it back. We'll get rid of this face. Actually, what we'll do is we'll get rid of the back. Now, you know what? We'll bridge edge loops. Control E, bridge edge loops. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. In fact, I won't need these ones back here. And now we'll bevel these edges. Shift Control, Shift and Alt actually, to select all of these. Control B and pull. I really only need 3, and I'll do these edges as well in the front, like that. Good enough. And now I'm going to take this and bring my 3D cursor there, and we'll make the inside parts of this. So let's just take one of these edges. Shift D to duplicate, pull it down, P to break it out, and shape this thing. Extrude it down a little bit like that. Take it, extrude it back, but scale in the Z so it spreads out. I can get rid of that back face. I can also get rid of that face and that one, and take the whole thing, pull it back in, scale it in the X so it touches, and flip it. Recalculate outside. Okay. Oh, there's one more thing that I generally like to do. I like to rotate these. So I'm going to rotate in the X so that it faces down a little bit. I just find it looks a little bit better. And then I'm going to take this and put the array on. This is going to take some polys here, so you know, generally you'd probably do that in a texture in a game, but I'm going to do it this way. And let's see if we go for 22 actually, and then I'll come in here and I'll just change the size of this so that 22 is how many I'm arraying, like that. Okay, so I'm going to take this now, I'm going to apply the array, or maybe it was 21, and join that. I'll come in here and merge by distance to see if I get rid of anything. I didn't. Slash key. And I'm going to take this and push it into here like that. Doesn't have to stick out too far. Looks better if it's something like that. Maybe a little bit out though to see a little bit more of those. Okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to join that to there. Good, so we have that. We are going to need a large pipe, and so let's take that piece there. Shift D, pull it out, pull it up, P to break it out. Take that, now that goes down there because that's got the array. Let's take the array off so it's the same length as this. Let's convert that to a curve and start bringing up the size. I just want it to fit and go into this but not interfere with that pipe, but I do want it relatively large, although not too large. I don't know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I'm going to take this and bring it up so it looks like it kind of goes into this. How's that? Right about there. If I put it more on the floor, well, no, I don't want to. I have a reason for that, but I'm going to do that, and then let's give this a little bit of interest. So let's set the resolution at 3 and convert it to a mesh. And then come in here, drag an edge loop down here somewhere, and we'll split it, we'll bevel it out like that, and then we'll E and Alt S and push it out so it looks like, you know, the way pipes look, where they either join or have that swelling. Let's bevel that with 2. There's 2, 3. And let's also bevel right in here to fix up the shading of this thing. Right there, I'll use 3 as well. See the shading changes. So I've got that. So when I array this down, you'll see this piece repeated. But I want to do something here. So here's what I'm thinking of doing, and I still have more work to do on there, so I'm kind of jumping ahead. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just leave that there. But I don't want it to join just like that. I do want a better join, and so maybe right now, since we're here, I'll take this. Actually, I could take the whole thing like that. At least that much. Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to drag it down. Let's see. How about I drag it to roughly where I'd want it? And I don't necessarily want it in the exact same position as that. It looks better if it's different. And then I'll go into wireframe. And I'll box select and I'll just bring it back. In fact, I could probably get rid of faces back there. I'll do that. I don't think you're ever going to see it on the other side, so I'm debating whether or not I would have to put it there. Okay, let's come back to this thing, though. What I want on the bottom of this, I want this as well. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot on this thing, so might as well do that. Let's take this, Shift D to duplicate, bring it out, scale it down quite small. It's going to be like a little power light. It's a little something that's going to glow. So I'll do it like this. I'll extrude out. It's going to be very similar to that, actually. Come in, come out. The only difference really on this is it's going to bevel all the way back, or almost like that, and then roll my mouse up a bunch of times. You know, it's probably more polys than you need, but I'm going to bring this back down to 3, and I'll bring just one edge loop in there. And I need to come in here, probably in wireframe. Is there a back on that? No, maybe there isn't. Okay, or is there? All right, let's just select the whole thing and P to break it out, and then we can look at that. Because I think there's something. Yeah, there is, and that's why we're getting that discoloration there. So I'll take that. I'm going to push that in. And I just want to look at the positioning of that. I want it kind of down there, like a green light or a red light. Okay, that's going to be there, and I'm going to join that. All right, so anyhow, what I wanted though was I want this, and I want to put on the bottom there. Shift D to duplicate. I don't know why, just to build up some stuff. And maybe it's a button, or who knows. But I can change the size of that. Okay, so I am going to change the size of that and just make it fit, and I hope it looks okay on there. All right, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to join that. Make sure I'm saving as we get up in polys. Okay. Yeah, all right. Hopefully those bolts don't interfere with this or don't look like they do. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to take this piece, Control L, and I've got a little bit of room. I'm just going to move it down a little bit. There, I feel better about that. Okay, so the next thing, again, don't worry about the shading yet. Select that edge, Shift D. I do this a lot where I select a piece of something I've already built and then I use it. Scale it down, P to break it out, select that, extrude it back to here, X edges, so that's gone. So I've got just this. And I'm going to extrude it out a little bit. We're making a handle. And F to make a face. So this is what I've got so far. Let's focus on that. And let's add solidify to this. Solidify. Put on equal thickness. I'll take it and I'll Alt-N, recalculate outside. You notice how it's changed. I'm going to decrease the thickness until I get something that I want for my handle. Maybe something like that. I'm going to apply that. And then come in here. These faces here are going to be submerged in the rest of the model, so I won't need them there. I'll do that, and then I am going to use the bevel modifier on this one. And I'll bring that up to 3, and I'll shade smooth, shade flat, shade smooth, doesn't really matter because I'm going to be joining it. And it's going to be basically like that. is how that handle's going to be. But I'm thinking I won't have it on center. I'll just have it sort of off center a little bit. I'm going to apply the bevel and take this and join it to the rest of the model. So, I mean, these things look larger than, let's make sure we got shade smooth on. They look larger than they probably should be, but that's my cartoon style. And the reason I started looking at my modifiers was I probably need weighted normal and normal's auto smooth on this in general. And that fixes up the shading. So this is what we've got so far. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I want to do some kind of a thing on the ground here. So I'm going to come back, and there may be more details I put on these things, okay? We're sort of blocking it out, but we're also sort of trying to not have to do too much extra work. Let's just hide that. So, yeah, so what I'm thinking is very simple. Something like this. Come here, E, S, come back, E, S. Now it's going to dig into the ground in the wall, but I kind of like that, believe it or not. And come out kind of like a generator type thing. I'll bring it down to there. Then E, and let's look over here. S, to come in. And we'll do a 2-stage coming out. There. There. I'm just going to snap it to there for the moment. Now we're going to have some considerations. We'll get to that in a bit. So let's now do some beveling. Okay, I have 2 ends beveled. So let's do it like this. With 3, and this one with 3. This one, I'm going to just go ahead and do 3 in there because we're going to need some support in there. This one we'll put 3. And what I'm actually thinking is I need the diameter of this to be the same as this, so that when we put on the array and when I actually attach this, it'll seamlessly join up. We'll get into that in a bit. So let's come back here. Let's just shut these off for the moment. There's something else I want to do on this, and that is I want to drag an edge loop up somewhere there, and I want to create a space, which is with 2, like this. I want to E and Alt S and pull, bring it in. So now I have a little space. I'm going to bevel here with 3. That's 2, 3. I'm going to bring an edge loop over here and over here. Okay, to fix up the shading. So I've got that, and I want to put something in there. Now this is going to take up polys, and I'm just going to bring my 3D cursor there, and I'm going to bring in another circle. So I brought in another circle, and I went for something like 22 vertices. Let's rotate X 90, and honestly, I could use more, but I'll try to stick with that and see what it looks like. I'm going to extrude out to here, and we could try this. No, you know what? I am going to subdivide, but I don't want the middle, so I'm going to dissolve that. So now I have more. Select it all and go select, check or deselect in face selection. So 3 for face selection, select it all, check or deselect, and get rid of those faces. So I've got those. And then I'm going to E and Alt S, and I'm going to push because I want something like that. I'm going to focus on that, and I'm going to delete these. So let's look from the side. I can do this in wireframe. I can just box select there, get rid of those faces, and then I'm also going to get rid of the bottom faces. And I'll just quickly go around here. I'm just cutting out polys as much as I can. When I started with Blender, I often didn't do this. I'm just doing standard renders, but you know, it's good practice. So I'm going to do that. I just want to make sure I'm going to scale it in the Y. I want to make sure that it goes in, and then I'm going to add a bevel, and I will likely add a couple, 2 or 3. I'm going to try 0.01. See if that's small enough. Let's try 0.001 or 0.003. Kind of like that. So I'm going to join it to here. No, I'm going to apply the bevel first, aren't I? Yes. And then I'm going to join it. So it's just something else in there. Okay. So I've got that, and I also thought I would put a little split in this. You gotta have that. So like this. E and Alt-S, pull, bevel these edges. Let's try to zoom in on there. With 3, so there's 2, 3, and come in here and just sort of squish that out to look a little bit better. You know, just so, you know, it looks a little bit, it's like something anyhow. And let me just have a look at this here. Yeah, see, I need that bevel so the shading's off. Okay, we're getting there, little by little. All right, so that and that and that and that thing. I am dying to put a subdivision surface on that, but that'll just blow my polys. I'm at almost 100,000, which is fine. Now, I want to do one more thing on this. I just want to have another think about whether or not I need something else on this. I think just to maybe complete this, I will take this label here. And then maybe that's good enough for now. I want to bring that up and out. I'm going to look from the side in wireframe and just kind of center that. Just, I don't know, maybe it looks a little bit more like an electrical panel. Maybe, I hope. Yeah, that's good for now. Maybe I'll do one more thing and then we will leave this be. We're going to come in here and grab a circle from here. Shift D to duplicate it and pull it down. I'm going to break it out, and it's got all the modifiers on it. I'm going to get rid of that. Actually, I'll get rid of those ones. I can get rid of this as well. I don't need that. And I'm going to hide these for now. All right, so back to this piece here. Extrude it. We're going to create some supports for this pipe. I'll flip that. Okay, so I've got that. E and Alt-S. You can do it that way. And then we could get rid of those faces, by the way. I may have done that a couple of times and forgot to get rid of them. And I'll put 3. We will recalculate outside. Now, do I have a little bit of space? Yes, I do. So I want to support this thing. So I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there. And then I'm going to bring in a cube. I never use the cube. So here we go. Here's a good chance. Bring that in there and pull it down and focus in on that, and just look from the front to actually scale it down. I'm going to take this and pull it in and then delete that face, and I'm going to take this face, pull it down and delete that face, and just want to have a look at this. That's probably going to be okay. I'm going to select these 4 edges and bevel this, Control B with 3. I'm going to join those 2 together and we'll shade smooth, and we'll have that kind of a connection. I'm going to take one here and I'm going to put one over here, and then I'm going to take those and I'm going to join them. Save and have a look at this, and now all of the pipes have some kind of a connection there. My plan is going to be to change the array a little bit, so that over here maybe I might have a ladder. I'm thinking of a ladder that comes up here, and I'm thinking of maybe some monitors on the side, so that this stuff would be all pushed down. So it would go toggle switch thing, vent thing, cylinder thing, ladder, then toggle switch thing, vent things, so that kind of thing. So it's not all the same. Very soon we'll get some kind of a mock train in there as well. But this is what it is starting to look like. We have more work to do, and I may change some of this design, but this is the process that we're using so far. So thank you very much for tuning into part 2. See you in part 3.